All right. Well, we were not able to do a Substack live, but we are doing a conversation recorded, and I will put this out on our Substack. And I am just so excited to have Ruth join us today. Uh, she is an author. She's a artist. She's inspiring Instagram person. I don't even know. Like you have so many titles. So,
Oh,
would you like to tell us some of the things that you do? I know you also have the company Grace Laced, and you do so many different things through that. So, you want to share with
well,
us some of the
it's
things
good
that
to
you
be
do?
here, and sorry we weren't able to talk to everybody on live, but I'm Ruth Joe Simons and an author of, I think this is my 10th book here. An artist. I love to paint, and through painting and my love for scripture, I created a brand called Grace Laced, and you can find the work at gracelaced.com where I help others look to Jesus through scripture, art, or journals, or resources, studies, and things like that. And so it's been a real unexpected journey in the last decade and a half or so of writing and publishing. Um, I wasn't always doing this because I'm a mama to six boys, and my oldest is now 24 and just got married, and my youngest is 13. And so, for anyone who's watching and going, how does she do it all? I would just say, I did not do all of it all at the same time. So, let's just get that out of the way that nobody does everything all in the same season. And we sure could be called to a lot of amazing things. But as women, we've got to stop thinking that everybody else is doing all the things all the time. You
But
can't be good at everything
100%.
all at once. So I just want to say that up front because I think sometimes it feels like, oh my goodness, how do you homeschool your kids and do this and do that? My husband was a pastor for a really, and he's still a pastor now, but we're pastor of a very small church and that we founded together, and he is our educator of the family. So our boys are in co-ops and in homeschool environments, but I am able to do what I'm doing in part because he's such a great educator and facilitates the majority of the homeschool education that we've got going on at home. So hope
And
that answers some of the capacity questions. But yeah,
yeah.
when I'm not writing books, I'm usually chasing my boys around in the mountains. We are in Western Colorado, and it's a different season for me. I am launching kids. I've only got two or three full timers at home, and some wander in and out with college things. But it is an interesting new season. But every season brings new opportunities, so it's good to be in this one.
Yeah, I am also in that season. My daughter just got
Are
married
you?
in the summer, my oldest. I have four kids and I homeschool, and now I'm only homeschooling two. I was at one point, homeschooling four, and then sometimes there was extra kids added in that were my siblings'
Hmm.
kids. And so, yeah, I definitely get to do a lot more creativity in this season than I did in younger seasons. And when the kids were little, it was just about survival so much of the time. Like,
Absolutely.
just
Yeah,
creativity looked very different back then.
for
So,
sure.
yeah.
Which, in part why I share this is because, as we're talking about this moment matters, and thank you so much for even having me on about that topic. I think it's interesting because almost 20 years ago, I started a blog called Grace Laced. We didn't have Substack back then. I've been playing around with the thought, like, could I ever do a Substack? I'm like, I don't need one more job. I cannot do one more thing. But we didn't have Substack back then. So I started a blog, and it was just one of those things where I was like, instead of watching, The Office or Downton Abbey, I just, every night after the kids went to bed, I just sat and practiced the craft of writing. And I think that's the beauty of Substack too, is that you have something to say and you have a perspective to share. It was long before social media was the main form of connection. And I started a blog called Grace Laced, and the subtitle was Finding Grace in the Everyday, because in a season where I was like, oh, I could barely survive. I'm barely showering. I'm just kind of like keeping these children alive. And plus, we were in full time Christian ministry. So then we're like counseling young couples, and I was discipling college girls. And I have all this creative energy. Like I want to paint, I want to write, I want to decorate, I want to sew, I want to do all these things. But when you're in the season of little years, sometimes you're just like, I can't do all these things
Right.
and feed my family or anything else. And so during that season, I was like documenting how God's grace intersects my daily life in all these ways when my life didn't look like doing extravagant, wonderful, extraordinary things for God. As in, like, if I thought I was going to go dig wells in on the other side of the world, I wasn't doing that. If I thought I was going to teach English to communities, I wasn't doing that. I was spending a lot of time, vacuuming up Cheerios and stepping on Legos and kind of working on phonograms over and over again and just being a little like, how is this? How is this my life purpose? And I was super, super grateful for that work. But for any mama, you know that the monotony of it, right? And you can start feeling like, does this moment even matter? And so
Yeah.
it's interesting because now 20, yeah, it just launched this last week, but this is what it looks like. And it's, oh, you have it, yay!
I have
But
it.
but I just want the Euro
It's
substackers to
so
know that like
gorgeous.
it's a
It's
hundred ways
so
to
gorgeous.
cultivate a graceless life. And I guess what I want to say, and I wanted to like introduce myself in a way where you wouldn't be like, wow, because this is my house on a really good day when it's like super dusted. Like, I mean, you don't invite a bunch of photographers and people over and not dust. So like it's dusted, we put stuff away. It's
Yeah.
not my house all the time, but it's my house in the most presentable way. But it really is the last. It's a collection of 100 things that I would say weave in and out of our lives. Like I don't
Hmm.
do all 100 of them all the time. I'm not every day building a terrarium or designing florals or trying to like have a perfect nighttime routine. Those are a few ideas.
Right.
And there are very spiritually based ideas, things like how do you carve out time to spend time with the Lord? How do you find ways in which you nurture your soul? How do you get a hold of your anxious thoughts and have like breath prayers? Those are all part of
Mhm.
it. And I don't do all of them all at the same time. But my goal was like, how do I take what I started with almost 20 years ago
Mhm.
and create somewhat of a coffee table book in which for anyone overwhelmed, you can just flip to a page and be like, I'll start here today. I'll just do this one,
That is
right?
exactly how I felt when I opened it up. I
Oh,
was
good.
like, this is just so, it's like a recipe book where you pick it up and you're
Yeah.
like, what do I feel like making tonight? And you just kind of flip through it and you're like, oh, that looks good. That's how I felt about this. Like here's like you guys, this is the photography is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I
Oh,
don't
thank
and
you.
I want to clarify, like you've painted all of these
I
things.
did. Yeah. I
That's
paint
what
all my books. This is the only one that has photography in it. Usually
Yeah,
there's no
but
photography
most
and
of the
stuff.
time, all of like the last one that you just did was like the wildflowers one. It was
Hmm.
all your paintings, and it was just like so. This one is really fun because it's got like the tea time painting that she did, and then also photography in there from like when your kids were little, right? Did you take those pictures?
Yes, yes. They were just
So
cell phone
sweet,
pictures, no big
so
deal.
sweet.
But
I love that.
I just wanted to show how like it's changed over time. Like that look, that one, that's my number 6 in that photo, and he's now 13. So
Oh, oh,
these are
and
just
he's just a
practices over
little
the years.
baby in that picture.
I
So
know.
sweet. I mean, not a baby. He was a little boy,
Yeah.
but he's so sweet. But yeah, I just it's so beautiful to look at, and it's so inspiring because
Oh,
as
thank
you
you.
flip through it, it's like, oh, this is tangible. I could do this. So I want you guys to see like this. They're just one page little pieces. It's not like you have to read a whole chapter. It's so approachable and just absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I love it. I've picked it up so many different times. And then
That's
just
so
like
encouraging to
all of the
me.
art. What inspires you to do like all of the art around here? Do you just kind of get a vision of what you want the page to look like or
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think each of my books has an identity. So like the when
Mm.
I was in my wildflower era, The Way of the Wildflower was completely you know, a vintage French botanical science painting kind of thing. I was all in with botanical science stuff, like those illustrations from the turn of the century and before. And so I was really into that, and I still am. But that's why there's so many like cross sections of flowers and what does the flower look like? What does the petal look like? And I was really into that documentation. And The Way of the Wildflower was a different visual genre. But with This Moment Matters, I knew I was kind of going to be in a blue genre, and all the colors were going to be a little more earthy, and I kind of was leaning into like a little bit more like tile patterns, things that remind us of like really beautiful Moroccan tiles or um, like Portugal pottery, things that are just a little bit more like homey, but kind of rich in collected eclecticness. And so that's where a lot of the patterns come from.
That's so cool. That's so neat that you have like a piece of inspiration. I can see that when I flip through your books, there's just like continuity and it's just gorgeous. Okay,
Thank
so I
you.
had a quick question. So you have so many different forms of creative expression that I have seen. Just as an observer, watching you on Instagram and interacting with your books, what what like what catches your attention? What do you when you choose what kind of creative expression you're going to do, where does that come from? Does it come from like do you have like a list of like here's some things I need to be working on, or do you just like have like okay, I have the next 3 hours, I feel like I'm going to work on
Mm-hmm.
this painting, or how do you tackle that?
Yeah, I love that question. Well, I would say right now in this season, I'm on a lot of schedules. So it's not that freeform. So like Grace Laced, where I produce merchandise that we actually like create and manufacture, we're
Mhm.
always a year out or 6 months to a year out. So I'm always painting to help the product development that we're doing. So if we're like, hey, there's a new day planner coming out, oh, there's um, a beautiful new journal coming out. Those are things that I'm thinking about 6 months, 8 months, 12 months ahead of time. In terms of books, I'm always working about 2 years in advance. And so
Okay.
the things that you see coming out from me next year, I'm already done. Like I already did it. I was in that era a long time ago, but I'll be talking about it and promoting it later and sharing it with everybody once it's out. But so I'm always kind of stewarding what I've already created and want other people to kind of step into with me and where I'm already going. So like, for
Mhm.
example, I'm already thinking about this little question of like, what are the plants of the Bible? So that's the biggest teaser I've ever put out there for anybody. But, if
That's
I'm thinking about
exciting.
something like that, you won't see that for a while, but I'm already thinking about those things. And so there's a lot of study and there's a lot of research and there's a lot of um, painting that goes along the way. And I try to like keep my heart light and enjoy the process so that I'm not like just this machine cranking out stuff for work, but rather like that's why I recently posted on my Instagram about like art on the go, just being like not trying to be perfect about it and just going, especially if you're you're traveling with your family,
Yeah.
take a look at if you happen to see something, don't go, is this worth my time? Is this going to turn into a book or am I going to get to print this and sell this? Instead of thinking like, is this going to be something I can monetize? Just do it and enjoy it. And I think that's one of the only ways to keep our hearts fresh in whatever it is, whether you're writing or singing or dancing or creating or painting or just running a business or running a ministry. It's like keeping the heart supple with like, why am I doing this in the first place? And
Yeah.
so yeah, I would say I'm not as freeform. So it's not like I wake up and just, the birds are not chirping and I'm just going, what should I paint today? It is not gloriously lovely like that. I show up to work like everybody else. I clock in practically going, we use an app called Asana and it assigns me all these things. And I've got a team that assigns me a lot of work and I'm very, very much like stuck to the things I have to create and the things that I have to do. So that's that's to take the glamour and deromanticizing the idea of being a creative entrepreneur. I think there's beautiful things about it, but you also have to fight for the joy in it because it's not always joyful.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what like your book is all about, right? It's for fighting for joy and finding joy
Hmm.
in small moments. Because
Yeah,
even when we're having days where we're vacuuming at Cheerios or we're, um, you know, dealing with work issues or whatever else, or homeschooling or whatever, that there still can be joy in those small moments, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Um, so you talk a lot about small, easy steps in all of your books. I remember back when you did like the parenting one with your husband, it was all
Mm-hmm.
just like so based in small, real, tangible things. Like everything that you write about is practical and tangible. It's not like, okay, redo your life. here's this, you
Mm,
have to become this different person. It's be who you are and just make small adjustments. Um,
yeah.
so what are some ways that you embrace small wins? What are some
Uh,
ways that you
yeah.
just like in your
I've
daily
had
life?
to really learn it. I've really had to learn this because I think the reason why I try to take small bites and small little incremental um, and make the most of that kind of progress is because I get overwhelmed easily. I'm a perfectionist. I'm kind of like if we are not going to memorize scripture well, let's just give up on the whole thing. Or like, if we're going to do something well, we're going to be the best at it. Like I get like this about myself. I get like this about our family. I'm kind of like all is lost because we don't have a clean pantry or, like I tend to be this way instead of
Yeah.
being like, today we're going to clean out the pantry. I'm kind of like, we messed up. And so I'm learning to take one moment at a time. And so celebrating small wins is a huge thing for me. It's like, okay, so we accomplished this today. How do we celebrate? And it doesn't always mean that we go out for ice cream or whatever, but even acknowledging it, right? Really going like, look what we accomplished today. I think that's a really big one is actually celebrating small wins, whether it's with my employees or with my, any team that I'm working with, but even with the boys, with my family, when um, it's hard to stay motivated if you don't call out the good. And so that's one of those ways that I do that. A funny way that I talk about in the book as one of the 100 is that I make my bed every morning. I actually feel like that is a huge win at the top of the morning. Like I
Yeah.
am in my office right now and I can see my bedroom from here and I'm literally like, there's messes everywhere. There's like suitcases that are not unpacked. There's piles and piles of things. But when I look across that way and I see a bed that's fully made, it's a start. It's a reminder that like,
Mhm.
okay, that's a flat surface that I can now fold laundry or do whatever, but that's a start. And it's a simple start. It's just one of those simple things.
Mhm.
So for me, a daily kind of win every day is make my bed and get dressed. Like even if I don't feel like it, even if I don't feel like, kind of like putting on real clothes, I always feel better. I always feel more ready. And so that's kind of just those are two things that I do every day. And then we always kind of gather around a dinner table. We try our best. I mean, we don't choose a lot of family in different direction kind of activities. So we pretty much have at least one meal a day together, and we talk about our wins and we talk about the things that um, we see progress in because it's hard to see it if you're a
Yeah.
perfectionist. If you have high standards for yourself, like I do, it's kind of like nothing's ever good enough, and so you have to like learn to call out the good and be reminded of how much progress you're making.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I also have that tendency. So I have to
Hmm.
just slow myself down and be like, okay,
Yeah, right.
what can we celebrate today? Yep.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right. Well, I am so thankful that you have taken the time to talk with us today and to be here. I highly recommend this book. Everybody go out and get it. Get a friend, get one for your friend, get one for your sister, get one for your mom. Like everybody needs this book. And it's I loved that the wildflowers one went along with spring, and it was just like it was the perfect companion for my spring last year. But
Oh,
I
I love
like
that.
that this one, it's all year. You can use this one all year long. There's not a time frame that this is like perfect at. It's perfect at all the time. So um yeah, I really hope that it makes an impact and that people can start embracing small things and just really enjoying their lives more, right? That's why we're here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Life is not
Well,
supposed
thanks
to be
so
full of
much.
drudgery.
Right? Oh,
So,
well, thank you so much for having me today. Really
yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you. Bye.